Welcome back to the channel, everyone.
How's it going? Cindy and Jerry, talk it up. How's everybody doing out there? So today's episode, I think
we're going back to our last episode. We talked about our daughter.
Yes.
You know, being young. We're young parents. We were young parents.
Young
when
parents.
We had her, and our son. We had him 10 years after. They're all 3 children are 10 years
almost
apart.
about 10 years
They're
apart.
about between 9 to 10 years apart.
Yes.
So when
just
we
happened
had
that
her,
way.
It wasn't planned that way. It just happened. So when we had our son, we were still living in the city. We were looking at houses already.
Yeah.
But we were still living in the city.
Yeah, we were still living in the city.
And
actually, that was a lot going on for us those 2 years.
Yeah, because we had
we got married officially.
We got married, and then we
had our son.
Yeah, I think we got pregnant on our honeymoon. I think. Yeah.
Around there.
Yeah. We had our son.
And then we bought a house.
And then we bought a house, all within a span of 2 years.
2 years. So it was a really
busy.
From 1999 to 2000 was the span of.
To 2001.
2001. Yeah, it was just crazy. We did the savings for the house. That was definitely happening. We had some savings. We had a small wedding. It didn't cost us a lot at that time. I think it was $4,000, $3,000,
No.
$2,000.
What do you mean? How much we spent on our wedding?
Yeah, the wedding.
Oh, we spent like about $9,000 on our wedding.
It was that high?
Yeah. Yeah, because remember when we did our daughter's Sweet 16, we actually doubled the amount. We were like, we compared the amounts because we had found receipts. And we were like, wow, we spent more on our daughter's Sweet 16.
Oh, definitely I knew that.
Than we did on our wedding.
And that's a whole conversation in itself because I'm from a family of boys.
And of course, our wedding, and yeah, we spent $9,000. But
it was
had
small.
It was small, but we also had a lot of family members that chipped in for things like our best friend, your best friend,
the limo.
Our best friend, he paid for the limos. My sister paid for the centerpieces.
Yeah.
So everyone in the family contributed because they knew we were trying to save for a house, and our families are very
supportive.
Yeah. So they contributed a lot. Same thing for our daughter's Sweet 16, even though. It was more expensive, but everyone still helps out with what they can help. But yeah, it was a busy year, those 2 years between getting married, having a baby, and buying a house.
Yeah, that was a lot. I don't recommend it. And I think in this time, in this day and age, I think it would be really, really tough to pull that off.
Yeah.
Is it impossible? I don't think it's impossible.
It's not impossible. It's just very tough.
But when you think about it, I think the interest rates are almost the same because we bought this house in 2000. We had it at 7.25.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I did refinance and got it lower once rates dropped. But I think, one of the things, the bank called me because money was coming out of the account They just wanted to make sure that it wasn't.
It was going in and coming out, coming out because we were putting money in from savings.
Yes.
Then we had our wedding.
Yes.
Then we put all the money in
from the wedding
back into the account.
Right.
Then money got pulled out when we were having the baby.
Right. We had to buy a couple of things, even though we had the baby shower. We had a lot
of things were gifted to us. And then money started coming right back out again when we started getting ready to buy the house.
Once we knew the house, then you have to give the deposit, the escrow account, and all that.
And then we build money again because between the months where we finally saw it, when we picked the house we wanted from the closing, it took a few months.
Yeah.
So between those couple months, we hunkered down again and saved money, to have from when we moved into the house.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So it was
it was
a lot.
It was a lot.
And then
I even bought an SUV in 2002. Remember?
Yeah, 2 years into having the house, we needed to get an SUV because we lived in the suburbs of Jersey and
North
the
Jersey. The winter
and buying things for the house. It made it hard to bring it back and forth from Home Depot.
Yeah.
And then we also had a baby. We had our 10-year-old and our son, who was a baby at the time.
I mean, all we had was the Saturn. First generations of Saturns from the 90s. It was a 4-door.
It was a small coupe style.
No, it wasn't a coupe. It was 4-door. It was sedan.
I mean, I know it was 4-door, but it was kind of coupe style. It was small. The trunk was small, I don't know if you guys remember the first Saturns. They were small.
Yeah, but they don't call them coupes. Coupes are different.
I know what a coupe is, but
it's still a 4-door
and it's 4-door.
small car. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm a girl. We don't,
It's a 4-door small car.
Shouldn't call it a coupe. It was tiny. It was small because I remember I had one of these old-fashioned bassinet style carriages, right? That was gifted to us my sister had it. She gave it to us for our son. And we could not go shopping to the mall or anything like that.
We could.
Let's have that in the trunk of the car.
You just got to put the bags in the back seat.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was a small car.
That is the car we got.
I mean, it got us to point A.
That's what I'm saying. Point A to point B.
When we got a house.
It got us through that snowstorm on 208.
No, it didn't. We got stuck.
No, all the cars got.
It got us home, but we got stuck.
Yeah, so it did its justice. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'm not saying you need an SUV when you buy a home.
No, we just we needed it because we needed to get things back and forth.
It was easier for Home Depot and with the 2 kids with a carriage having an SUV. So that's how I would leave it.
And it helps with the storms.
And it helps with the storms. Yeah. It's again. I tell my kids SUVs they don't get stuck as easy as cars do.
Speed.
But it doesn't mean
it just helps you along.
Right. You got 4 wheels moving when you need it.
Yeah. So we bought the house. Our son was only 6 months old, and of course the first summer we didn't really do a lot. It was my first summer here. We didn't know a lot. It was actually more prepping the yard our first summer. Yeah. Because the second summer we put the pool in the second summer.
Yeah. It was just getting to know the house.
Yes, and also baby proofing because, like I said, when we first moved in, our son was only 6 months old.
Yes.
So we had to do a lot of baby proofing and decorating and tearing things out. The house had
Sorry if you hear my blowing.
2-tone carpeting. Do you remember the 2-tone carpeting in the living room? And
I can't.
It was like a brown.
It was a brown, but I don't remember 2-tone.
Brown, dark brown, light brown. It was like a mixed, when they used to make carpets look like marbleized, brown marbleized.
I just remember brown. That's it.
And I was skeeved out. Not that the previous owners were dirty or anything, but he was starting to crawl. It was, I think it was spring or something like that, or summer. This is where I started, because when we lived in the city, I wasn't as adventurous. Tearing things up.
Well, we lived in an apartment, so there was no projects to do. When you have an apartment,
I would paint here.
You would paint here and there, but
as to
you don't own it.
Tackling walls and stuff.
This is where you really. Yeah, this is where. Yeah.
So he went to work one day. I think our son was. He had to be probably about maybe. I'm gonna say we were here maybe already 4 months, so he had to be about 10 months old, crawling already. I don't know how I did it, but I tore the carpet out.
I came home.
He came home. He was like, "What did you do?" I was like, he's crawling. I find the carpet gross, so I put him in the pack and play back then. And
was it called pack and play back then? Yes, it was. Well, Angelica was a pack.
It was called playpen back then.
Yes.
Right. No, it was a playpen when Angelica was little.
No, it was a pack and play. Yeah, it was a pack and play.
When Jeremy was little, it was called a pack and play because then you could pack it up and.
Yeah. So you could. So for us, remember, about 9 years between the first and second one, and 10 years. So we saw
the difference of the baby.
Yeah, where it was just a basic playpen, the ones that you can.
Vinyl.
Yeah, and they were metal, and you want to click it so it can start to fold, but you don't want to pinch your hands.
Pinch your fingers.
Yeah.
And kids learned how to tear it on the bottom because it was made out of vinyl. So when he came home, back to the original, he came home, the carpet was torn out because of course our son was starting to crawl and get into things and we were learning. So I tore out the carpet. It took me hours to get every little staple out. And since we were new homeowners, I was pulling staples from the padding from the carpet with a butter knife. And a fork.
Right. We didn't have
a lot of tools.
We didn't really have tools yet. We should tackle this.
Yeah. So I used an old kitchen knife to cut up the carpet because we didn't really have.
This
tools.
is actually not even summer yet because then afterwards
it was like spring because we moved.
It was
in
spring.
The winter.
Right. It was spring. It was right.
We moved in the winter.
I came home. It was all gone. Mm-hmm. then, I think maybe after a couple of weeks, they said, well, we got to buy tools.
Yeah.
We got to buy tools.
Your cousin had to teach us a lot of the stuff.
And I remember the first conversation at a Home Depot employee, she's asking questions, about screwdrivers, and, we're going to get a kid, and we need a drill. And the gentleman goes,
keyless?
Do you want a keyless or a key? Now, you got to understand, she's asking questions, and Home Depot guy, customer service, it actually was a gentleman.
It felt kind of sexist, actually.
He was just answering me.
It felt sexist. It did. It was really sexist. I'm asking questions, and he's answering you.
Right. So when they went to the key thing, he looked at me again, and I said, listen, guy, I said, I have no idea about this stuff. Mm-hmm. Why is there a key for a drill? I have no idea. But she's asking you the questions, and you keep on looking at me to answer.
Do you guys remember when they had the drills? I don't know if they still have them. I didn't think they made them. It had a little key to turn it, to loosen where the bit went.
Yeah.
Where if you want to put a Phillips or a flat.
Right. Yeah.
There was a little key to turn it, to tighten it.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's answering him, and I'm like,
and I had no idea about this.
I'm like, no, I don't want a key. If you lose the key, then you got to go to the store to buy it. I was like, I just want a simple hand drill to get some work done.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, listen, she's asking, stop looking at me and answering. Answer her, because I didn't even know there was a key in the drill. Why would I have no idea? But I think because we opened an account with Home Depot and stuff like that, and then I guess within the 6 to 8 months, because we're just going back and forth, going to Home Depot, they get to know you and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, we did. Some of them get to remember.
Yeah, they were.
And then they would start talking to me, and when I would ask the questions and stuff.
So
like that.
Then here's where it gets interesting. Again, not to speed it up for those 6 months, but we did buy an SUV, and I would take my SUV to the park and ride and park it there and go to work, and I'd come home and things were going on and stuff. I'm like, wow.
Oh, this is when he found out that. So he would go to work. He took his keys because, of course, he would park the truck at the park and ride. The kids were a little bit older already, both the kids, and my best friend would come and help me get into trouble.
Actually, you got to rewind it even. Well, we could tell this story. Go ahead and tell the story.
No, I mean, we were talking about Jeremy being little, and she would help me.
Well, I drifted. I did. I drifted because of Home Depot. But you can finish the story. Go ahead.
So when he was at work, I would go and take my car to the park and ride, park it in an empty spot, move the tag over to my car, and take his SUV to Home Depot.
But she would bring it right back to the same spot. And so I think I asked, how did you get the stuff here? And she was like, and I'm like, how did you get the stuff here? And she was like, I used your car. I'm like, but the car's at the park ride. She goes, I put it right back in the same.
I would go take his car, go to Home Depot, go get everything, bring it home, unload the truck, make sure I put all the seats back the way they were, take his truck back to the park and ride.
Put the seats down.
And take my car.
Put the seats down so she could load everything up. And I had no idea. She was like, I've done it a couple of times. I'm like, what?
Well, because I would stop my car right so that I can get into his car, back it out of the parking space, get into my car, drive it into the parking space so that I wouldn't lose your parking space. Right. So it's not that your car would be moved either.
No, I know. It was in the same spot. Absolutely. I have no idea.
So back to the original story.
Right.
So when we moved here, like I said, our son was only 6 months old. I'm going to fast forward to 2 years old. When he turned 2, I think maybe a week or 2 weeks after, he had a serious choking incident. You're a parent, you get comfortable and used to, you just give them their food when they're toddlers, because he was already 2 years old. So, we already had a daughter, and you're used to giving them their food chopped up, and you're like, here, you can watch TV,
Uh-huh.
And thank God that he came out of his room holding his neck like this. He had stuffed too many pieces of chicken nuggets in his mouth, and it ended up lodging in his throat. And he started choking on it. mind you, we had only been here 2 years. We didn't really know anyone yet.
Yeah.
We were very private.
Back then, because now we got a channel.
But we did know our neighbor already because he was very friendly when we moved in. And as he would help me in the yard, I would go help him when he was
I think you guys connected because of 9/11.
Yes.
Because in 2002, 2001,
yes.
I was still stuck in the city due to 9/11 and stuff like that.
So they invited me over with the kids when they knew he was stuck in the city.
Right.
So that day, he happened to be home from work. Like I said, our son came out of the room grasping because he couldn't breathe. So I panicked. I picked him up, ran outside, no shoes on, t-shirt, pair of shorts on. That was it. And ran to my neighbor. And thank God, he started pounding on his back, doing mouth to mouth, trying to get him to breathe because at this point he wasn't breathing anymore. And by this time it was just hectic. I don't know, within the whole thing of him breathing, giving mouth to mouth.
But you had somebody come up.
We ended up somehow we ended up in
the front yard.
In his front lawn, working on him because we were waiting for the ambulance to get here. And another neighbor who lived around the corner from us, who was an EMT, happened to be driving past our house that day, and she came out of the car.
But
had
she saw
her equipment.
Yeah, because she said she saw the trunk open for the squad car, for the cop car. And it's two reasons. A, they got to get the shotgun, or B, they need to get their first aid kit.
Resuscitate somebody.
Restart. Yeah,
so she grabbed her equipment, came also.
Yeah.
Between her, my neighbor, and the paramedics, got him breathing again.
Right.
Got him all ready.
Got him in the car and just rushed
him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, my son, and I don't say it to be negative, but I don't think he would have gotten the fast response he got living in the suburbs for some reason, because we timed it. We did time it.
Well, you guys timed it.
We timed it. At that moment, when you're going through something, it feels like an eternity. Don't mind me. I get a little emotional.
I guess what you're saying is
it was very scary.
We love the city and stuff like that, but she thinks that there's just no way the response time and maybe even people helping.
Yes.
It could have been a different outcome.
It definitely would have been a different outcome. I don't think he would have been here with us had not been for the response, the timing of the response, and the people around us. Knock on wood, he's very healthy.
He's fine. Yeah.
They said he would have or might have learning disabilities.
There was just no way to know.
No way to know, but he turned out to be a lifeguard, graduating high school, he's
finishing
going to
up college, 2-year college.
He's got plans for life, but
yeah.
Raising him here, because I'm pretty sure the same accident could have probably happened in the city. Because you're a parent. Sure. Sometimes you get caught up doing things, and we all just give them their snacks or their lunch and not pay attention because they already start eating on their own. So I tell him all the time, I think we were blessed that we moved here, and the response was what it was, that it changed that aspect in life where, like he said, it could have been a lot different. It could have been either he ended up, because they did say he lost oxygen to the brain.
There was no doubt about it. When I asked, they said, listen, he wasn't breathing for about close to almost over 3 minutes, and the brain is up to 4 tops. Mm-hmm. So it was a scary time. Yeah. So, when we talk about how we raised our daughter to raising our boys, because of that.
Yes, we were more free with her because we were younger.
With the boys, we were more, I don't want to say smothering, but
I was a little bit more smothering because we went through that scare.
Yeah.
It made me more cautious.
And you appreciate.
You do appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I hindered them a little when they were little, because I would chop up all their food after the scare. Yes. I always chopped up their food, or there were certain things that I wouldn't
give. Even other family members would chop up food for their kids.
Yes, and then there were some other things I wouldn't feed our third child because of the scare that we went through with our second child. I feel bad sometimes about it, but I wouldn't change a thing because I still have my boys.
Right. So again, so when we brought this video, I know we talked about the snow and the Home Depot, but it's really the first couple of years of being in this house and how that incident changed as young parents, even though we had 10 years with our daughter.
Well, no, that incident.
It switched gears.
It switched gears. It did a lot of stuff because we're city people. We love the city. Yeah. We love the hustle and bustle. We like the nightlife. We like all of it. So when we first moved here, I adapted more than he did. He didn't like the quiet. He would get up. I adapted very well. Then once the incident happened with our son, I think I embraced living in the suburbs more. Mm-hmm. Whereas you didn't too much.
It still took me time. It still took me time.
Then also, we moved from the city. Our daughter was 10, so it was harder for her to be accepted.
Yeah, she wasn't
really accepted in the beginning. It took a while for the kids here to accept her because she had a New York accent. She also had a New York attitude. Yep. So kids were mean. So at one point we actually almost thought about selling the house. And
I'm like, maybe it's not for us.
Yeah. But then we had the incident with our son, and he was like, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and we'll stay in the suburbs a little longer. Yeah. And then there's times where he hates it here.
Yeah, I do say
it's different here.
Yeah. We'll have to definitely.
We'll get into that another time.
Yeah, of pros and cons of city life, suburban life, and things.
Suburb friends, city friends. It's very different.
And things that just happen in the city that don't happen in the suburbs. Things that happen in the suburbs. So that's a total conversation. But anyway, yeah. So who we were those first 10 years being together, raising our daughter, it changed. The second year of living here, because we were still kind of the same way, like you said. And then it's just switched gears.
Yes.
Because I think, Angelica, she had her own room. She would take her food in her room. Mm-hmm. She had a small TV in her room, and sometimes they eat at the dining room table.
And sometimes they would have a lot of home. Well, when she would have a lot of homework, I would let her go to her room. Right. So we started to do the same thing with our son when he was little. The bad thing is, even I didn't learn. Well, it's not that we didn't learn from him having the accident. It just became a normal thing. We sit at our table sometimes and have dinner, but majority of the time the kids they take their dinner and they go off to their room and do their own thing.
Well, I think it depends because
they're a lot older.
So our daughter doesn't live with us anymore.
Yeah.
Our son could be here. He could be at Starbucks. He could be at a late night school, session, stuff like that. So yeah, I tried to tell her, let's try to eat 3 times a week, maybe 4, at the table, especially.
It doesn't happen a lot. Once in a while.
But again, this is one of those things I would love to do this year.
Talk about
resolution or bucket list to eat a little bit more.
Bucket list, not resolution.
Especially that we got that great table,
I know.
But go ahead.
They're busy. They're older. And people always tell me, how do you keep a clean house and everything? They don't come out their rooms. They don't. But you know what? Their rooms, they're not immaculate, their rooms. But
even when they come out their rooms, gross. When Ada was watching TV...
like yesterday, he was on the couch all day yesterday.
They're not going to make a mess,
No, well, they're older, so they know better. They take... If you're sitting in the living room watching TV or laying on the couch watching TV, pick up after yourself.
Right.
Your room, you got a little bit of leeway. You got a couple hours. You can leave the cup there for a little tiny bit. But if I'm going to come into your room, best believe... You
don't want to see no sugar ants.
Best believe they know.
Again, I said it before. Better not be no food, no sugar ants during the summertime. Because then it's pretty bad in this house.
Okay, so I'm going to revert back to what we were talking about, where I would steal his car from the park and ride to go do Home Depot runs.
Well, I mean, this video is kind of those first couple of years at the house. And of course, learning, the difference between raising Angelica.
I'm going to tell you guys a funny fact. I didn't have a driver's license when we moved to Jersey.
No.
I mean, we lived in New York, so I used the subway, I used the bus, I had a cab.
She had to learn how to drive here.
I had to learn to drive.
There's nothing. I mean, the one good thing is when we purchased the house, this is I think it's called sub rule. You know what I'm saying? We got paved, but now sidewalks. But there's 4 sections in this town and stuff like that. But what's good about us is we're walking distance
to the bus that
to a local bus.
To a local bus.
I take the express, but if it happened to be car was broken down, I could
Well, we had a couple of those when we first
actually,
moved out.
yeah.
We had one car.
And also, there's a small grocery store, a pizza shop, and a diner, walking distance for us or the kids to.
Yes.
So our spot of where we are situated in downtown.
It's in a cool spot because we're in a walking distance.
Right. We're in a prime spot.
We're also walking distance to my cousin's house, which is also very rare when you're buying a house in the suburbs.
Well,
it wasn't even purposely done.
That wasn't even purposely done. That just my cousin lived here. And then we kind of...
Which was walking distance also.
Yeah. Everybody was in this spot, this hub right here. I think, going back to raising kids, I think, when they're a little bit farther apart, I think, gears switch up a little bit, or incidents can happen that switches it up.
Yes.
Versus sometimes when you're having, some parents having kids,
closer
almost back to back. Yeah.
Yes.
Unless, again, an incident happens.
Yes. I mean, when they're closer in age together, they are a lot closer.
Right, but I'm just saying, that first year and a half, we were basically raising Aiden the same way we raised Angelica.
Yeah, it was.
Except for newer items, everything was changed up.
Until the accident.
Until the accident, and then it was like, hey, you eat here. Hey, this is gonna get chopped up.
Yeah. When the accident happened, everyone ate at the table for a long time,
and everything was chopped up finally.
Even
I think he was like 10. I was like this.
Chopping everything up. Yes.
I'm chopping everything up. Yeah. Even his godmother was like, "It's okay, let him chop it up."
Everyone chopped, and I know the accident caused a lot of kids in the family to be a little resentful because
everything was chopped up.
Everything was chopped up.
You couldn't eat by yourself.
Eating in the car when they would like drive through.
We
have relatives
and
that
rooms.
They go through the drive-through. The kids are not allowed to eat in the car anymore because they can't see what they're eating.
No, it changed everything for a good 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years, it changed everything in our family for all the kids that were growing up.
Yep.
Their parents got very, very helicopter.
But also here, we and it's I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it was about 3 days. That he was in the hospital. Right?
I think it was 4 days.
4 days. It just seemed like an eternity because you're not sleeping. You were just not.
No.
When he got back home, he was a sergeant. He came over and he brought him a big Clifford dog and stuff like that. And one thing I want to say was, one time I was at a DMV next town over. And it was one of those rare times where I lost my card for registration, so I had to go in person to do it. And this person is just, he's looking at it. It's like looking at my address. He goes, "Yeah, I know this location. I know this address." I'm like, "Okay." It was an incident that happened, 15. It had to be like almost 15 years ago. With a small boy. And I was like, I look up finally, and he had changed so much. And he had white hair. I was like, "Sergeant Anderson." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "That's my house. That was our son. That was,
Yeah, we had some people because when the accident happened. We were new to the neighborhood. We had only been here 2 years.
2 years.
So, let me go into another story because, like I said, we live in a lake community, and this was like 4 years ago when I ran into Kate.
Yes.
4 years ago, I'm down at the lake, and
more than 4 years ago,
right?
Before COVID.
Oh no, this was before COVID. Yes.
This was before COVID.
So it had to be maybe about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, because he was still lifeguarding.
Yeah, he was. Yes.
6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, he was still lifeguarding. I'm down at the lake, and I didn't recognize her because it's been a long time since I've seen her. And this lady walks up to me, and she goes, "Are you Jeremy's mom?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Do you recognize me?" And I'm like, "You look a little familiar, but I don't remember." She goes, "I'm the EMT that saved his life."
Yeah.
And she told me, I'm trying not to get emotional. And she goes, "I would drive past your home for a long time, and because I didn't know where she lived in town. I actually didn't even know she lived around the corner from me.
Yeah, we didn't know.
The accident happened that day, and she went off on her way, and we all, life went on.
Yeah.
So, she tells me, she goes, "We never knew if he survived or anything that happened." She goes, "But one day I came down to the beach with my mom, and I see this boy sitting up on the lifeguard seat, And I asked my mom, do you think that's him?
Yeah, he was talking like 14 years.
Yeah, she goes, because he looked a little like the little boy, but he changed. I was like, well, yeah, he's a full-grown man now. Yeah. And she goes, for a long time, we didn't know if he survived or if he had brain damage or if you guys still lived here.
Yeah.
She goes, because we don't really go knocking at people's doors. And I was like, we didn't know who you were. You didn't give us your name. And that's why I said, I don't know how I could ever thank you because you saved my son's life.
Yep.
And I come to find out she lives right around the corner from me.
Yeah.
And
she was so happy to see him sitting as a lifeguard.
Yeah.
She actually put this post, the whole story on it.
She put a whole post on social media.
It had to be like 3 paragraphs.
Yes, whole post on social media on how proud she was to be part of saving somebody's life who is now...
That's his job, to look underwater.
To save other people's lives.
Right.
And that actually made me not only proud to be his mom, but it also made me proud to know someone like that. I remember when we got there, we were at one hospital, Chilton Hospital up here in North Jersey, and we had to be switched over to the St. Joseph, which is actually a children's hospital. So we transferred over there and stuff like that. After we brought him home, 2 weeks later on, I took him to Chilton. I said, yeah. And it was a weird way of doing it. And, they got the security desk. And he's like, how can I help you? And I just wanted to thank the people that saved him and transferred him. So I kind of tell the story. And he was like, okay, let me get a head nurse. And she comes out. She just automatically recognizes. She came straight. She actually ignored us. She came straight to him and grabbed him and hugged him.
Yes. And she just knew it. Yeah.
And then she spoke to him.
Right. So then she goes, I got to call the neurologist because he's upstairs. So she calls the neurologist. He comes down and he tells me, he goes, listen, I really appreciate it because, we make these transfers. We don't know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. To other hospitals, did the child make it? Yes. Was it the right decision? Mm-hmm. That's their job. It just happens. To see him here, 2 weeks later on, I said, yeah, he's fine. He's talking. He's actually talking a little bit more than usual, but he is as fine as could be right now and stuff. And we just wanted to say thanks and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely changed the lives of the kids and the family and stuff like that. Yeah. So the first couple of years at this home was interesting, where we didn't have the tools, learning how to do things, and really for her, really becoming a home improvement tool time, getting it done in the house,
and raising kids at the same time.
And raising kids, and then of course the difference between how we raised our daughter
to our sons,
to our boys. I
know I coddled them more, but I would not have it any other way. I know they're mama's boys. Like I said, I wouldn't have any other way.
Yeah, they are.
Even like our son Jeremy put us on under stress during that situation. Mm-hmm. Aiden put us under stress also when I was expecting him, and that's another story we'll say another time. But like I said, our life is and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have roller coaster lives. That's what I call our venture.
There's no way you're gonna have growing up with another person, raising kids or whatever it is, and not have left, right, ups and downs. I mean, that's what this
call it roller coaster.
Yeah, this is what it's about. This channel. It's just really how we just talk about it, talk it up, and push through it going forward. And still facing new challenges. For 2024.
2024? You mean forever?
Forever, yeah. So, and it just shows out there it could be done. Relationships can make it through It's not easy, but you push through it. I think some people just give up and go, this is not for me. I'm done.
No, I wouldn't say some people give up. Sometimes.
No, I mean, if legitimate reasons, I think absolutely legitimate reasons.
Sometimes some people have to walk away from a relationship when it's not the right thing for them.
I think some people don't want to put too much effort in it. Like 30 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think some people just say, it's easier just to
walk away.
I think so. I don't know.
Everyone's different, to each his own.
Right. But again, that was our episode for this one. We are very close to opening the IG account. We're going to have an IG account.
I know we keep saying we're going to do it, but like we said, life takes a toll. And it takes control, and
things happen. So one thing we're doing is we're very consistent on dropping the videos.
Yes.
But tomorrow is the focus of we're taking a break and we're going to focus on opening the IG account and doing at least 1 to 2 shorts. Yeah, and 1 to 2 shorts.
Yeah, I'm waiting on him to do it.
Yeah. It's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow's a good day. So anyway,
hopefully we'll get to it.
See you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.